Well, this week, the FDA approved a new drug for treating sickle cell disease. And as ONR's Rory Taylor reports, that medication was developed right here in Oklahoma.
Basically, the way that I've been told, you're born, you have it. But I wasn't diagnosed with it until really I was pregnant with my first child.
Mary Long, a supervisor of housekeeping at the Oklahoma Medical Research Foundation in Oklahoma City, learned she had sickle cell disease in 1971. Prior to that diagnosis, she didn't realize anything was seriously wrong.
And then when I was pregnant with my first child, and then I had a doctor to set me up with a hematology doctor, and he started explaining things to me.
That helped explain the origin of the unexplained pains she would occasionally experience.
I wasn't on any powerful medicines or anything. I mean, I've been on steroid type medicines before, and it seemed to help a little bit, but other than that.
It is possible to treat sickle cell disease with a bone marrow transplant, but that is not an option for many patients who must rely solely on pain management for relief.
Sickle cell disease is a disease with a mutation in a protein in red blood cells that causes them to change their shape or sickle. Patients with this disease have periodic painful crises where their small blood vessels block. And the blockage, we now know, is in part due to the abnormal sticking of white blood cells and platelets and red blood cells that is mediated in part by this protein that we discovered.
Dr. Roger McKeever is a hematologist at OMRF, and his longtime research could be life-changing for people like Mary.
So, believe it or not, this research actually spans over 3 decades. It relates to discovery of a protein that we made that appears on blood platelets and the cells that line blood vessels. And over the course of many years, we discovered that this protein had an important role in promoting inflammation and blood clotting in health, but also in disease when it was dysregulated.
This protein, called P-selectin, contributes to the clotting that sickle cell disease causes. Dr. McKeever found that by developing an antibody to block the clotting protein, sickle cell patients were experiencing far less pain.
Today, that was great news for me to hear that.
We think that the drug has a chance not only to reduce pain in many patients, but to reduce the damage that occurs to multiple organs, because when blood flow is blocked, even temporarily, it's damaging to the tissues.
The new drug, Adakveo, fresh out of a successful 1-year clinical trial, was approved by the FDA on November 15th.
Well, it's a wonderful feeling. I'm also a physician. In fact, I'm a hematologist who specializes in blood diseases. And in my early career, I treated many patients with this disease. And I know firsthand how devastating these painful complications are for patients. So I'm very thrilled to think that this drug might actually make a meaningful difference for a lot of patients.
That it approved here at OMRF, and this is where I work at, so it's wonderful. It's a great feeling, it really is.
Rory Taylor, The Oklahoma News Report.
Now, there's just one thing. That drug is pretty expensive. The wholesale price is about $2,300 per vial and is administered 3 or 4 times a month. The annual cost without insurance close to $100,000 annually.